Hello and welcome to practice. The name of today's class is called Rinse. We're going to work on our shoulders today. We're going to work on something that will help us feel a lot stronger, more secure, especially in weight-bearing positions. And it will really help the function and the comfort of that whole chain. So anything along the hand, the elbow, the arm, it's all gonna make it feel better. And it's gonna get into the rotational properties of our arm here. Interestingly, there's a lot of rotation that is possible. We can rotate at our elbow. That's actually the joint that rotates when you turn your palm up or down. And then you can rotate here at the upper arm bone in the socket that's created by the side of the shoulder blade on the back. You can actually even rotate this bone on the front, your collarbone. When you tip the shoulder forward, the collarbone actually rotates forward. So there's lots of different rotational things that can happen in the arm. And what I found is that when you can balance the rotation in such a way where, let's say the forearm is rotating in one direction and the upper arm is rotating in the opposite direction, it creates a lot of support and stability for all of the joints. Everything seems to be feeling very balanced and like it's working well on all sides. You don't feel like you're over-efforting in one joint, or sometimes what happens is over-efforting on one side of a joint. If you've ever felt that, like too much happening on the inside of the wrist or the outside of the wrist. So I have this handy tool. This is just a hand towel. And you'll notice when you are working with material that if you give it a firm twist and you rotate it in opposite directions, each side in opposite directions, what you get is something that's much stronger than if it were just hanging like this. So this can actually take quite a bit more force if you were to just pull and try to pull it apart. It's much stiffer, it's much stronger. The more that I get it wrapped up here, the stronger and the stiffer that it becomes. So if we take this principle into the arm, the chain of the arm, I think some interesting things will happen for us. So that's it. That's what I'm excited to work. Did that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I tried to explain this once before and it was not making sense. So I had to stop and start again. Okay, so before we get started today, I have 3 action items for you to do. The first is make sure you're signed up for our free weekly letter on our website. The second is please subscribe to us on YouTube. And the third is, if you can, please make a donation to this work. We have a donation page on the website for that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. You're joining me, Brenton, today, and our friend Ollie back there. And as you feel ready, come on down to your back. Take a few moments here to breathe. Move around in any way that feels good to you. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take the arms out to the sides at any point that feels comfortable to you. And as that happens, I want us to see if your ribs feel like they're poofing up towards the sky. If you have any space between the back of your ribs and the floor, try to mush it out so that the back of your ribs are really pressing down into the floor. Maybe you feel a little bit more stretch across the front of your chest or some of your arm muscles when you do that, maybe not. Press down through your feet, scoop the hips up off the floor a few inches for a low bridge pose. Really don't feel the need to come up super high here because the point is to get the booty muscles fired. So really press down through the feet, drive energy up the legs, into the hips and into the butt. And still feel the rib cage draw down, like there's a weight on the front of your ribs and the front of your ribs are trying to take you back down to the floor, but your butt muscles are winning and lifting your pelvis. Okay, we're gonna hold it here. For another full minute or so. And as we do this, we're gonna see if we can leave our upper arms where they are and simply turn the palms to face down on the ground. And maybe they don't get all the way down, right? Like maybe you only turn them a few inches, that's fine. And then turn the palms to face up again. So just let's repeat that a few times, just dealing with the rotational property of the forearm and the elbow joint. When you do that, you might be surprised that the upper arm tries to move with it. And that means that your brain hasn't been able to distinguish these different body parts from each other. It doesn't know that your elbow wants to be able to do this on its own. So every time you do this, your brain gets the message, it gets the memo of like, oh, I'm supposed to map this? Okay. Rest with your hands whichever way is more comfortable to you. Go ahead and slowly lower the hips back down to the floor. Nice, slow, deep breathing in and out through the nose if you can. See if you can press down with your feet, scoop the pelvis up off the ground for another few inches there. Breathing, using the booty muscles. Now taking the arms up, palms facing each other. Let the head of the arm bone rest on the floor so that you feel like, broad left to right through the front of your chest. Really rest your ribs down. So you're trying to inflate your back here. And now you can see your arms. So kind of freeze them in space from the elbow down to the shoulder and just move the forearms, rotating them so the palms face towards your head side and then towards your feet side. And at first, your brain is just going to use whatever it can, whatever it has used before to get this movement to happen. So we want to try to not lead with the wrist. My wrists really want to lead me. And we want to try to leave the upper arms out of it. So we're even trying to turn on the muscles of the upper arms to really hold those puppies in place. Let's again come all the way down. This time, let's interlock the hands behind the head. Let the head rest into the hands here. All right, so let's feel the relationship between the elbows and the shoulders. Really squeeze the elbows in on the face. You're kind of squeezing your face here. And see what happened in your upper arms. Then widen the elbows all the way open to the floor and close them in like a book around your face. And do that a couple of times. You don't need to try to name what it is you're experiencing, but send your attention there and see if you can gather any information. The best thing you can do is to use muscles close to bones to move them, and to use equal effort in all parts. So keeping the elbows now in by the ears, the arms turned on. Keep your feet pressing down and forward. We're going to lift up off the shoulder blades, but keep your neck super soft. So it really rests into the hands. Your chin is nice and tucked. Really pull your belly button down, pull your lower rib cage down, and lift up a little bit more. So curling in the spine, really feeling the back of the body get nice and long. When you're dealing with the shoulders, you need to get nice and long in the back of the body. Also the front of the body. Come all the way down. Keep your feet pressing down and forward. Here we go. Come all the way up. And this time, keep the head soft into the hands. Reach the right arm back up where it was, sort of for bridge. And now pull the fingertips all the way up towards the sky so the shoulder blade starts to lift up. And then soften the head of the arm bone down. So just feel the shoulder blade on the back. Lifting up and down a couple of times. Really let the head go there so you're not holding with the neck. And try to get muscles around your armpit and your upper side waist to move the shoulder blade. As you feel ready, take the right hand behind the head. Come all the way down. We got a map. Press the feet down and forward. Lift up off the shoulder blades. Head nice and soft. All right. When you're ready, left fingers reach up. We're going to see lifting the fingers up a couple of inches, pulling the shoulder blade off the back up, and then softening down a couple inches. Do that 3 or 4 more times. Really use the muscles to manipulate the shoulder blade, and it's the shoulder blade moving that initiates the fingers reaching up and down. Okay, take the left hand behind the head, release all the way down to the floor. Okay, keep the breathing soft. Nice and light. Keep your feet pressing down and forward. Lift up off the shoulder blades, head soft into the hands. Right fingers reach up and just feel the arm in the socket here. Now we're gonna see if we can rotate the full arm so the palm turns away from the body, and then we're gonna rotate the palm to face the midline. Do that a couple of times here. And it's here where you've moved your forearm a few times, so it's okay if the forearm moves, but make sure you're moving in the shoulder socket as well. So now you're mapping right in that upper arm socket. Take that hand behind the head, come all the way down. Okay, deep full breaths here. Really be soft in your jaw and your tongue. We want to be calm during this time because that's when we get the most benefits. Press your feet down and forward. Lift up off the shoulder blades, head soft into the hands. Here we are, left fingers reaching up a few times to rotate that full arm out and in. So the rotational properties of our joints, they're called internal and external rotation. And we'll learn more about that as we keep moving. Go ahead, take that left hand behind the head, release all the way down to the floor. I think we've had enough there. It's a little gut-wrenching. And come on up. Let's turn forward onto our hands and knees. Okay, with your hands down on the ground, you have set the rotation of your forearms. You have needed to set that in order to get your hands to face down. So now bend your elbows, and we're gonna see how we can rotate the shoulders. So use your elbows to manipulate your shoulders by winging them out, and then squeezing and wrapping them in. And going out and in, and feel not just your arms doing this, but you wanna start to feel the muscles on the upper back and the upper side waist and where your armpits are. The more alive that stuff is back there, the happier it tends to be. And notice when you're doing this, does your pointer finger ever lift up? Does the inside of your hand ever lift up? And that's just telling you that you have some challenge there of getting your shoulders to rotate in one direction and your forearms to rotate in the opposite direction. So now see if you can wrap your elbows back. Okay, your elbows are wrapping toward each other. Here's the weird thing. When your elbows wrap toward each other, your upper arm bones are actually rolling in external rotation. So it's an opposite mirror of each other. So as you rotate your elbows toward each other, your shoulders are opening away from each other. Shoulders nice and broad. And now see if you can take the elbows down to the floor. Is it comfortable for you to have hands down? If it's not, then lessen the rotation of your forearms by interlocking the hands together. From here, tuck the toes. We're gonna lift up into Dolphin. So press through the forearms, not just simply sinking down. And as you do that, imagine your elbows are still squeezing toward each other. If your hands are on the floor, keep wrapping them down so that your thumb is going down, your forefinger is going down. Keep squeezing your elbows toward each other and feel all of the muscles turn on behind your shoulder blades and in your armpits. Okay, send the knees back down to the floor, shoulders over the elbows, and then we'll come up to the hands. As we feel ready from here, let's experiment with our first downward facing dog, but to do this, it's the same principle as the elbows wrapping in. It's just that the arms are straight. So get a little bend of the elbows so you can take some measurement there, wrap them toward each other, and then maybe play with straightening them. Use all of that to lift the knees up, and then as you send yourself back, you're staying strong in the arms. In fact, the forearms are trying to lift up, and you're trying to tip the weight more into the fingers, more out of the wrists. See if you can hold on to some of that property as you push off the fingers to walk yourself back to your legs. Bend your knees as much as you need to. It can look sloppy. It can be all over the place. That's fine. All right, but bend your knees here. Relax your head. Maybe even get your elbows up on your thighs if that feels more advised. And breathe. Let your upper body tumble over your lower body as long as you don't feel dizzy down there, anything like that. Just let yourself go upside down. Bend your knees, scoop the tail, slowly come all the way up to stand. When you come all the way up to stand, reach the arms up. And then back down by the side. Hold yourself in position here. So hold your pelvis and your ribs and your head all in a nice neutral position as much as you understand what that is. And then hold your shoulders in place as if you were really holding them so they're not just sagging off your body. And you might not know where that is. That's okay. You come here and you experiment. And over time, your brain maps it. And every time your brain is figuring it out, it's like, oh, it's a little bit more like this. And then you feel it and it clicks in. And you're like a Lego masterpiece. So reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And then take them all the way back down. And turn the palms out and reach them all the way up. And then turn the palms to face open and come all the way down. Feel this a couple of times. Alrighty. From here, we're going to take the hands down by the side. We're going to tuck the chin into the throat, but that's the only thing that changes. You're staying nice and lifted. We're going to curl the front body in nice and slowly as we slowly start to curl forward. And maybe bending into the knees here, really taking the front of the body in, really rounding the back of the body. And again, this is just going to help us really open that line so you can deal more with the shoulders, so the shoulders have a little bit more freedom. Press down through the feet, tuck the tail, slowly curl yourself all the way back up. When you come all the way back up, open the palms, reach the arms all the way up. As you do that, keep the ribs pulled up and back, keep your head pulled up and back. Turn the palms out and open, back down by the side. Your chin is the only thing that moves as it tucks in, and then you slowly start curling the front of the body into the back of the body. Hanging over the legs there. Take your time as you press down, scoop the tail, and slowly come all the way back up. Unfurling and reaching the arms all the way up to the sky and taking the arms down. Bend the knees a little bit. This time, move your spine in one piece, hinging forward at the hips. When the hips max out, finish by waterfalling over the legs. We're going to see if we can keep the weight in the fingers as you start to walk yourself forward towards downward facing dog. Use your hands to control the rotation, the rinsing of the forearm. So imagine that washcloth is your arm here, and you want that arm to be nice and strong. So the forearms rotate one way, and the way they do that is you ground through the pointer finger and the thumb side of your hand. Now at the same time, you want to roll, like, it's hard to figure out where these are, but can you figure out where your inner biceps are? It's the part of your arm that's by your ears. That part of the arm needs to roll up to the ceiling as the thumbs and the forefingers press down. And now use all the muscles along both sides of your arms evenly, all the way into your upper back. You should feel your arms root into the upper back. Now continue using your arms like this as you shift the shoulders forward and tap the knees down for tabletop position. Tabletop position, nothing really changes there with how the arms are working. They're just in a different position to your chest. So now tuck the toes, hover the knees, send the pelvis up and back, downward facing. And in your own time, explore that a few more rounds, trying to keep the spine nice and long. Let's meet in tabletop position. And in tabletop position, walk your hands one handprint forward and lean back over them. Same principle applies. So you're really rooting down with the pointer finger here and ride that up your forearm. Your forearm should be participating, holding in place. Now roll your shoulders open. So that's the part of your arm bone that's now closest to your chest. Roll that forward and out to the pinky finger. Now see what you can do to have your elbows point back as you bend an inch in the elbows and then press back up. So try to hold your spine nice and still as the elbows bend back and up and back and up. This last time we're coming all the way down and let it go, release, congratulate yourself. Even if that was challenging, even if it didn't make sense, keep coming back, keep showing up and doing the work. Okay, we're gonna fly our cape back here. So let's meet with the hands reaching back. We want the butt muscles on, the belly muscles on. With the arms reaching back, it's gonna be tempting to roll your shoulders down to the floor. We wanna lift the shoulders up and just start to feel like if you could sense the head of the arm bone plugged into the shoulder socket here. Just see if you can feel that. And you want the outside of your arms rolling slightly up to the ceiling, if you can feel that. Now let the back of your neck grow super long here, and keeping the front of the body contained, pulling up to the back. See if you can lift your pinkies anymore. You don't want to feel a pinching in your shoulder there, and you still want to feel the upper outer arm bones rolling up to the ceiling. Keep your chin tucked, the back of the neck nice and long, and then release. Release into anything that feels good for you. Let's set the legs up and the body up exactly as it was. So you keep the front of the body nice and contained. The glutes are on to keep the low back nice and long. We're going to take the hands underneath the elbows. That's by the low ribs. And here again, rolling the shoulders up. And they're in this rinsing action here with the upper outer arm. I'm touching that on me right now. That part of the arm is rolling up to the sky as the pointer finger is pressing down into the floor. So here, see if you can keep that as you hover the hands up off the floor. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. Nothing changes in the upper arms as you press and straighten at the elbow. And then hover the hands and then straighten at the elbow. Last time, hovering the hands. Now we want to keep the upper outer arm rolling to the back of our body and keep the elbow grounding down as we lift the chest up a little bit more. Front ribs in, front pelvis in. Pull the pelvis off the ground so you're in table. Walk the knees in. Find tabletop and your arms there. And once you find the rinse action, tuck the toes, hover the knees, send the pelvis up and back for downward facing. Take a few deep breaths. All right, in downward facing dog, we want to keep that rinse action as we lift the right foot and tap it forward like 2 inches and then step it back. Lift the left foot, tap it forward 2 inches, step it back. So you stay in downward facing dog as your feet kind of march left and right. What you're doing here is every time you pick up a foot, you're weighting the shoulders differently. You're giving your shoulders a different load. And so we want to feel the shoulders be really resilient through all of those variations. Keep your chin tucked. We'll start to walk the feet forward. You come forward however it works for you. That's my motto. Whatever works for you. When you get to the top, bend your knees, scoop the tailbone, slowly come all the way up to stand, and finish that off by reaching up to the sky. Soften the hands down, breathe. We're going to be in a high lunge on the right side. So step our left foot back. Get your bearings together. You know, you can always have a chair, hold on to a chair, something like that. And we want to get the pelvis upright, the ribs upright, the head upright. From here, take the right hand to the left side of the body on the front and use this to remind yourself that you're closing in here. You're not busting out there. That's where my body wants to bust out. So I use my hand all the time to just pull things back in, remind things of where they go. And keeping that, lift the left arm. Now you want to stay really pulled in here, pull in at your hips, but lift up a little bit taller through your ribs, through your chest, and just like literally an inch side bend over to the right. Maybe it's not even distinguishable, maybe you can't even see it. Really pull in on that front side. Then as we feel ready, lift up. With control, turn open to the left. As we come open to the left, bend into the left knee, send your hips back. Try to use your legs evenly, getting into the hips. Come back through center, come upright, and turn into warrior two on the right foot. So you just turn your right toes to face the front of the mat, left toes still face open. Take your time to settle into that front knee. All right, so here's where you can really feel double helix. That was the first name of this class that didn't work out. He was like, that's confusing. So here's where you can feel the rinse, right? So your upper arms, you want that sense of openness through the chest here, right? So that means that the part of your upper arm that's on the front of you right now, that part needs to roll up to the sky, right? But your front ribs still need to stay tucked in. And you need to turn your palms down. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is press through that front foot, straighten the leg, turn the toes to face the side again, and now stay controlled in the shoulders, but move the arms in front of the body. So now they're like Frankenstein arms. Bend back into that left knee, side lunge. Press down with that left foot, straighten the leg, open the arms back up, warrior two. Press through the right foot, straighten the leg, turn the arms forward, side lunge to the left. Straighten the left leg, warrior two, arms and leg. All right, so we'll work both of those, and if you feel like it's better to just work the legs or just work the arms, you can do that. And you're just trying to make some sense of the arms here. It's the same rinsing action we've been playing with. Alrighty, from here, here's what we're doing. Side lunge to the left. This time we're gonna take the hands down to the floor or to an ottoman or to a chair, whatever is achievable for you. And maybe pulse a little bit into that left leg if that feels good. We're gonna rotate over that front leg with the hands on the floor or on a pair of yoga blocks or again up onto an ottoman or something like that. As you come into a lunge, squeeze your legs into your pelvis. We're going to take the left hand down under the shoulder. Same principle. The forearm is working to rotate the pointer finger on the floor. As the upper arm, take your right hand, grab your left arm, your upper arm, and rotate it to the pinky finger. But just above the elbow, everything below the elbow is rolling to the pointer finger. So now you feel the rinse. That's your rinse. Keep the rinse as you peel open into the left shoulder blade and reach the right arm. If you don't want to reach the right arm, you don't need to. You can always keep it down or peel up at the elbow. That can also feel nice. This is how your arm wants to bear weight. Take the hand down to the floor. Take the left knee down to the floor. And this time we're going to pull the right foot back for a half side plank. All right? So with that half side plank, this bottom leg can kickstand in any direction, wherever you feel stable. Take your right hand and cuff your left shoulder with it. So you're trying to feel like shoulder blade on the back, head of the arm bone snug into the shoulder blade. And if it feels advised, right leg lift. Really use the muscles around your pelvis to really hold that. And you still have that same rinsing principle through that bottom arm. Let's go ahead and turn down to face the floor here. Tabletop position. Can you find your rinse action with your right arm? From your elbow down, you're rotating to the pointer hand. From your upper arm, you're rotating to the pinky side. Take the left hand behind the head, peel open into a twist. Come back down. You're just pivoting on that right shoulder blade, peeling the rib cage up into the shoulder blade. Take the left hand down to the floor. Here we are, we're in tabletop position. Walk the hands a palm print forward, lean forward so your shoulders are over your fingernails, okay? And feeling that same double helix action, bend the elbows an inch and press up. And get the weight into the fingers, not the wrist. As you bend and press up. And when you do that, your upper outer arms roll up to the ceiling, not down to the floor. So if your upper outer arms are rolling down to the floor, we got to back out and do less. Come all the way down. Release and relax. Let's take the hands back underneath the elbows, and we still want to use the elbows down to the hands to ground the pointer finger side of the hand. Your upper outer arms rolling up to the ceiling. Lengthen the back of the neck. Get the shoulder bones to do this without the ribs getting involved. You want to feel the front ribs draw down to the pelvis so everything on the front of the body closes in. Hover the hands up off the ground. And straighten the elbows. Bend the elbows, hover the hands, keep the back of the neck nice and long. Straighten the elbows. Take the hands back. Keep the upper outer arms rolling to the back plane of the body. Grip the floor with the fingers and ground the elbows as you lift the heart a little bit. As you come up a little bit, the front of the body peels up with you. It does not push forward. Now peel the pelvis up, tabletop position. Set yourself up, and in your own time, lift up and back, downward facing. Feel the arms work evenly on the inside and outside. If you get that wrap, the rinse, then you should feel like things are working pretty evenly. One at a time, push off the hands, walk all the way back to the feet. Bend into the knees, tuck the chin, slowly curl all the way up. As we feel ready, lift all the way out and up, and take the hands down. One more time, we're reaching the arms all the way out and up. As the arms come down to the side, see if you can set them in neutral. Neutral means that when they're just hanging out here, they don't feel like they're rolling forward, nor do they feel like they're rolling back like this. In fact, they're in this soft neutral rotation where the thumbs are just sort of resting forward. Can you imagine that that would be possible for you someday? Press down through that right foot. See if you can lift the left foot up in front, but you're not doing that from your spine moving or your ribs or anything like that. It's your hips. Take that left foot down. You really got to stand on it and get strong up into the left glute as you lift the right knee up and down and forward. Hold the shoulders nice and well as we lift the left leg up, down and forward. Last time, right knee up. This time it's going to step us back to high lunge, where of course we take a few moments to find our marbles. So you get the pelvis, the ribs, the head nice and upright. Take the left hand to the right front body and use that as a reminder to slurp it together. Taking the right arm up, so now you get more of the stretch through the tissues along the upper side waist, the armpit, into the arm. And it's just a little baby up and over because you still got to work your hips like crazy to hold your pelvis so your pelvis doesn't go with you, so that you actually get this more into the side, right in between the ribs, along the back. As we feel ready, come on up. We're going to open to the side, and we did side lunge. So we're going to side lunge to the right and work the hips here. You try to work the legs evenly. I always try to feel my pelvis evenly set between my legs and then also between my armpits. And now when we come upright, let's flirt with a warrior two. So left toes rotating to face the front. Coming on down. This can be a very confusing position, so you take your time with it. When you're ready, this is the classic with the arms open, right? So feel the top of the rinse by turning the palms up, but let that go deep into this joint. So this joint is rolling into that position. Now, at the same time, take your ribs out of it. So your ribs are not lifting up too, but they're pulling down. Now, hold everything from the elbow to the shoulder where it is. Use your forearm muscles to turn the palms to face down. That's hard. Now, holding all of that, take the arms forward. So you're still holding on all sides. Turn all left toes forward. Bend into the right leg. Press through the right foot. Come all the way up. Turn open again. Open the arms. So remember, you can work all of this or just a portion. Anything that you do here is good for the brain to map. So whether you do the full thing or just the legs or just the arms. And don't demand perfection. We're just looking for precision, like more precision than last time. When you get tired, you start being less precise, and that's okay too. Okay, come into a side lunge here. And in this side lunge, see if you can sit the hips back so much that the hands can play around with coming down to something. Now, bend into the other knee, your left knee, and turn forward over the front leg. So we're in a low lunge. Your right hand is grounded on something. Squeeze your legs into your hips. Take your left hand to your right upper arm. Before you do something with that, use your forearm to rotate and ground your pointer finger to the floor. Now use your left hand and spin the upper arm in the opposite direction, away from you. Peel and twist into that right shoulder blade. Still using the legs to hug into the pelvis. If you want to reach the left arm, you can. Definitely not a requirement. As we feel ready, take the left hand down to the floor. Right knee comes down to the floor. Find a minute to reposition yourself in modified side plank. So the left foot steps back. Use your right leg as a kickstand wherever it is manageable. And you find the rinse action in the arm again. I like to take the left hand and hold and cup my right shoulder so I can feel where it is. And then maybe the left leg lifts. And everything's held together and we're breathing. It's not an emergency. Good job, everyone. Okay, we're coming down. Tabletop. Find the rinse action with the left hand as you take the right hand behind the head and then peeling open from the left armpit and rib cage and down. We'll do that a couple of times. Alrighty, from here, we're going to retest dolphin pose. So with the hands on the floor, bend the elbows, see if you can wrap them towards each other and lay them on the floor so that they're closer together than your shoulders. Remember, when your elbows are close together, your shoulders are externally rotating, and that's what's for most of us, that's going to be our secret sauce. You decide if the hands are grounded or interlocked. Lift off the knees. Send the pelvis up and back. So rooting down with all of the forearm. Every part of the forearm that's on the floor. Using the upper arms to hug the elbows together and spin open in their sockets. It's hard to feel. The spinning open of the shoulder in the socket is hard to feel, but you'll feel it. After 10 years, I'm just starting to feel it with some accuracy, and it's very fun. Okay, shoulders forward, knees tap down to the floor. Coming up to the hands. Whew. Good job, we made it through. You want to come down and rest? Okay, let's come down and rest. And you're probably really prepped for poses like side plank and other arm balances right now, so you're welcome to pause the class and play around with some of that. When you're ready to come down, maybe let's do something just kind of a little bit soothing for the nervous system. If it feels good for you to draw your knees in, you can do that. And move based on instinct. Maybe roll around a bit. Maybe stretch open in your hips for a little happy baby pose. kind of feel out for yourself. How much movement have you done today, or are you planning on doing today? And what might be some soothing movement? Just something to remind your brain of all the different types of movement you want to be able to pull out of your bag of tricks at any given moment. When you're ready to find a comfortable place to rest, you can find yourself in a comfortable reclined position for Shavasana. You can also take Shavasana in a seat or on your belly or lying on your side. Really anything that's comfortable. And see there, once you kind of get there, can you lay out your shoulders in a way where nothing feels like it's grabbing or holding on? Same thing with the back of your neck. And if you feel a pinching in the back of your neck, you might benefit from a pillow. See if you can feel like your belly grounding down to the floor, because if your belly is poofing up and your ribs are poofing up, you're gonna be in this place where you're just gonna be waiting to get out of the pose. So the moment that that stuff can ground and get really heavy is the moment that you start to feel a little bit safer. You're welcome to end your practice exactly as you are. I also invite you to start moving your body gently, taking a minute or so to take some gentle, light movements, some deeper breaths. It can be very easy for our attention to collapse in on a thought or a body part. And so as you move forward, whether you're in Shavasana still or you're starting to move around a little bit, the invitation is to let your attention, you can feel what that is inside of you, your attention, to let it expand. Don't let it collapse or narrow in on a thought or a story or an image or a body part. And even as you gently come up to a seat, keep your attention expanding. hope you were able to feel today how the rinsing action can be deeply beneficial to you in your weight bearing. Really, our arms love weight bearing. Maybe that sounds crazy if you're somebody whose wrist is always bothering them, but really our arms want to be well versed in it. And so the more that we can work together as a cooperative team, the better results we're going to get. So if you have questions about anything we did today, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you had an experience you'd like to share, I'd love to read about it. And of course, if you have, questions or you want my input, I'm happy to weigh in on anything. I will repeat our 3 action items from here, and then we can move on with our day. So action item number 1, make sure you are subscribed to our free weekly letter. You can do that on our website. Number 2, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You can do that on YouTube. Number 3, if you can, please donate to support this work. It really does go a long way in ensuring that everyone who needs this has access to this. That is the most important thing to us. And it also ensures that we have the time and the resources necessary to keep developing this. And believe it or not, it takes a lot of time to do research and all of that kind of stuff on the best way to be living and moving in order to be feeling better and have less aches and pains in our life. So thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you right here next time with a brand new class. Have a wonderful day.